Okay guys, what do I want to do today is generate the self-signed certificates for different domain names. It could be created for IP addresses as well, but I'm gonna follow this tutorial. Not exactly follow, but I'm gonna use this tutorial. I'm gonna put the URL to this tutorial into the description under the video, and I already done it, so I have the steps recorded. Let's create a self-signed certificate. Okay, and this is necessary for our project identity server for microservices, generally speaking. But in one solution, we have API, we have identity server, we have MVC client for this identity server. We have a troubles actually running the identity server into a Docker container. So in an attempt to solve this issue, we will need the self-signed certificates so the communication can be done through SSL. Let's go back. We have to run first the PowerShell as administrators. Yes. And there is a distribution software called Chocolately. So we have to install Chocolately. I have Choco installed already. Probably I can create another tutorial or maybe not, but in any case, Choco installed mkcert. So this guy actually what is going to do, what is trying to do here is to create HTTPS mywebsite.com. However, I'm building a multi-tenant application as in I make use of subdomains such as blah blah. So naturally, when I develop locally, I want to visit localhost 5001, 5000, localhost customer 1, localhost 2001. Look at this, a subdomain. It's totally different domain. Even if you change the port, this is treated as a different domain. So he shows how it's done on macOS, on Linux, and on Windows. Type C Windows System Driver etc host, etc host. I'm gonna go to this folder as well, but I'm gonna do it through the file manager, file explorer. So this is a DNS system for Windows. I would call it this way. Windows um, system 32 drivers, etc. And here we have the hosts. So I have to run one notepad as administrator, open this file as administrator. This is in fact the DNS system. If you type a URL, first thing is Windows goes to this file and tries to figure out the URL which I typed and resolve it as an IP address. If cannot find it here, is using the DNS servers. So probably, no, it's on the desktop. I was hoping that probably I'm already in this folder, but I'm not. So Windows System 32, it's a very important thing to know. Drives, etc. And here we will open all the files. Open, and voila. This is what we have. So what I'm planning to do is have, for example, STS Security Token Service, stocluster.com, MVC stocluster.com, API stocluster.com as a tests, because the names of the Docker containers are something like services. They can be with dots as well. They can be like domains, but I'm also wanna try with the host names like MVC stocluster, STS stocluster, and localhost as well, and subdomains of the localhost as described into the tutorial. So we are gonna work with both systems, with this DNS system in the file hosts. Let me see if I have a pointer. Yeah, I do. Zoom it. Uh, and generating the certificates. In order to see the certificates which are installed on the system, we can use cert mgr. This is Certificate Manager, Microsoft Manager Console. Here we go. We see the certificates here. Trusted certificates. Windows comes pre-installed already with a lot of certificates, and those are the certificates we have right now. So this is another topic. We're not gonna touch it right now. I just want to mention MMC as well. Microsoft MMC, Microsoft Managing Console. This is what I'm trying to run, but obviously I cannot find it. It shows me Hyper-V for some reason. MMC, C web results, MMC, strange. Maybe it's already running here. Cert Manager, Cert LM. Okay, we'll see. Wait a second. Let me try like that. No, again, Microsoft Management Console. This is what I want to run actually. Okay, let's continue. In fact, the certificate manager is open in the Microsoft Management Console. So if I close it and if I type cert mgr, when we start it, here in the admin it says Microsoft Management Console. I want to start this. So mmc is the command to start the Microsoft Management Console, and I directly went to the certificate manager. But this is something separate. This is something additional. So now the most important thing is that we have all these domains and the host names, so we can access our computer like that. Why it's 114? Oh my God! I'm right now. I'm in a different network, so probably I have to change my IP address. Let me check first. So IP config. Let me check my IP address. Yeah, my IP address is different now, so I'm gonna change it, of course. This is a good exercise, in fact. What do I have? I have a project and I have identity server. In this identity server, I want to use a certificate. So what do I have to do? I'm gonna remove this right now. I want to be able to access this project by typing let me see, launch properties, stscluster.com, not simply localhost 5001. It was localhost 5001. Let me show you that. This is another working one. In any case, this also is working. Like that is also working. This is what I wanted to mention. But before was localhost 5001. Instead of localhost 5001, I want to use domain names or host names as shown. I recorded all this in my file docker how-to because I'm working on the Docker. So now let's see how can we do that. Obviously we have to change the IP addresses here. In the hosts file, host docker internal and gateway docker internal. Okay, so added by Docker desktop. Look at this. This is quite interesting. I haven't noticed this before. And Kubernetes Docker. End of section. Okay, so I obviously have to change the IP addresses here in order to work like that. This IP addresses are like that because I was connected to a different network, to a different local network. Right now, I'm connected to the one which has 192.168.1 and something else. This is a different router or router on English, on American English. So now if I change this to 100, it's gonna work. 100 is gonna work. Now this is not gonna work. So let me comment out this. Copy all this. Put it here and change the IP address. Okay. I noticed that in Kestrel, actually, you have to put either the IP address or the domain name where you want your server to run. Otherwise, it's not running correctly. So 100, because this is the IP address of my machine right now. 100. Okay. It's immediately available. So let me try to ping all these domain names. So ping, for example, sts stcluster stoscluster.com, and it's pinging successfully. V internet, this is Hyper-V. Okay, so it works right now. So first things first, in the launch settings, I'm gonna change right now the URL as I did already. I'm not gonna change it anymore because I did it. Notice this HTTPS. So I want to access this with HTTPS. Notice also that we don't have the part for IIS, for Internet Information Services. Okay, so now if I run this application from the console, and if I type sts stocluster.com, I will be able to get to this URL. What I'm wondering right now is, what if I type a different ID surf ID not quick start, finally. Not this one. Oh, come on. So this is the one I was looking for. So .NET run. Before we do that, we have to generate this Kestrel certificate. And that's why I'm doing this video, actually, to show how to generate a SSL certificate for all these domain names which I just registered here in the hosts. So I want to generate an even extra. I'm gonna generate for localhost as well. So in other words, we don't need anymore the SSL certificates generated by Visual Studio or .NET. We can generate our own certificates. So let's follow this. Let's follow the steps. So we have to install this Chocolately. Let me show you this project. I don't know why the people are using this, but anyway, Chocolately. Chocolately.org. The package manager for Windows. Modern software automation. Chocolately central management deployments. Chocolately deployments easy orchestrate amazing things. Okay. So this is what it is, the package manager for Windows. In order to install it, click on install, and installing Chocolately steps. Subscribe to Chocolately news, optional. Choose your installation method, Windows 7, PowerShell to minimum .NET Framework 4 plus, TLS Chocolately install. Individual, first ensure that you're using an administrative shell, as I do. Install with PowerShell exe. Okay, so now run the following command. Self-execute. I guess they had a installer somewhere. I don't know where, but in any case, it's done. It's already installed on my machine. So let me change the directory to project .NET ID SRVS. Okay, source identity server. I'm here right now where I have to generate my SSL certificate in order to use it. So let's follow the steps which I did already. We have to use Choco install mkcert, not make cert, because there is another software for generating certificates. It's a Windows actually software. It's called make cert. I'm gonna use this software, make cert. Choco install make cert. Thinking about the Windows installation, but I will come back if I remember that. Paste the copied text into, press enter, wait a few seconds. If you don't see errors, your Chocolately is installed. Okay, I'm gonna put a link to this as well. So once you have Chocolately, you can install right now this tool, make cert. After that, we have to run make cert install, which in fact creates the certificate authority. Certificate authority. I have done it, so I'm not gonna do that as well. Make cert, and after that, into the folder where you want to create the pfx file, the certificate file, you have to run this command. And I did it for identity server. So you have to mention all the domain names for which this certificate is valid. You also can create a wildcard if I'm not mistaken, but I'm not gonna do this in this tutorial. I don't need that. MVC STO cluster, so just make sure that I will generate the certificates for all these domain names. STO cluster, MVC cluster, here we go, MVC cluster, www, localhost, and localhost. I just want to have as a subdomains as is mentioned into this tutorial, because this is the guy. This is what the guy is doing. Here he explains how to install this make cert tool on Mac, Linux, and Windows. Then create a new local certificate authority and create the pfx file. This was the help I was getting for this from this tutorial. And after that, we have to add all these things. So let me run at least this command. I will remove my certificate and I'm gonna create it again in my administration here window with administration rights. So Kestrel pfx, remove Kestrel pfx. Okay, is gone. Now I'm gonna copy this command, paste it here, and execute it. So Pixie 12 P12 file Kestrel, we have to read, of course, the documentation of make cert. Actually, you can create this certificate with OpenSSL, with make cert, with mkcert, as I'm doing right now, which is installed through Chocolately. So now when I hit enter and I do ls, I see Kestrel installed already. It's created here. So for all these names, the certificate was created for all these names, including localhost. At least we know how to create our certificates right now. Okay, so the certificate is created, and this tutorial actually was especially for the creating the certificate. There is another, let me finish this first, follow the steps, and after that I'm gonna go through the other tools. So I did the very same for MVC client. Notice this, I'm using the same domain names. So this certificate, I can clone, of course, this certificate. I can put it in a different projects, but I can generate certificates as well in API as well. Now we have to do changes. I'm going to do these changes only in Identity Server. So if we go to Identity Server here, we have to add this to the project file. Item group condition configuration debug none update Kestrel PFX. So this is one thing to do. Kestrel copy to output directory preserve newest condition exist Kestrel PFX. Obviously, this is the requirement for the application for our project, because those are the metadata for our project. This is Microsoft.NET SDK Web is using. Okay, so this is the one thing we have to do. What else? Add to CS project. After that, add to app settings development JSON. If you don't have such file, just create it. App settings development. I added this portion, Kestrel. Okay. Okay. So the next step is to add this one, this code snippet, to the app settings development JSON. I have to solve the issue with the production, of course, Kestrel. And let's see what is the next. The whole file looks like here. In properties, launch settings JSON, we have to put the URLs now, which our particular application is gonna use. In my case is https stocluster.com, and just make sure that in the host file it points to the right IP address. Very soon I'm gonna run the application, so we're gonna test this. That's it for now, I guess. So the most important thing is, and the purpose of this tutorial actually is to show how to create self-signed certificates with mkcert in this case. Okay, so do we have something else here? In host file, make sure the all points, the URLs, blah 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 blah. API, the URLs in the launch settings JSON. Yeah, because all of the domains point to the very same IP address, we still can use ports, which is okay. This is what it came to my mind. In identity server clients, of course, new client. Now in the identity server client configuration, in the client here we have to make changes accordingly to the client. The client, allow it graph, okay, secret API. This is the MVC client. where to redirect after login. Redirects URL STO cluster 5002 stocluster.com 5001 to sign in OpenID Connect. So post login redirect URL. As you can see, again, we are using the domains. The most important thing is that the SSL certificates have been created. So let me run right now .NET run ID server Stoyan. Let me try and see if everything works. Come on, run. Finally, SDK version 5 telemetry .NET tools. Unable to run your project, ensure. Okay, so I have updated to 5.0, and I definitely have to make some changes. It got me in the point when I haven't. Telemetry, the .NET tools collect usage data in order to help us improve your experience. It's collected by Microsoft, blah blah. Unable to run your project, ensure you have a runnable project type. Where I am? What is going on here? Docker compose. Um, oh, of course. Uh, ID server, identity server. Okay, .NET run. Okay, so now I'm into the project, and hopefully, let's keep our fingers crossed, and hopefully it's gonna run right now. This project has been created with .NET 3.1. Now we are having .NET 5 already. Okay, so the project is running. So let me try now. Um, Localhost should work. Localhost should work. Eventually. It's not working. Connecting, but it's not working. HTTPS something. Let me try. HTTPS. It's working on the HTTPS localhost, even though into the launch settings we have only sts.stocluster.com. So all these domains which we have here should work. STS, now localhost is working. Let me try this one. As far as I remember, it's working as well, because they all point to 192.168.100 MVC cluster. STO cluster, and of course as a subdomains they also gonna work. STS, STO cluster. Let me remove this and see what happens. Now it's not working, so it requires HTTPS security socket, and let's look at the certificate. Yeah, it was created for sts.stocluster.com. Let me bring the comments. Look at this. The first one is STO cluster in the line, so probably that's why it's called like that. Okay. Self-signed certificate. Ensure the identity of a remote computer. Ensures the identity. Issued to STS cluster. Issued by mkcert desktop. Blah 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 blah. This is the issuer. With the mkcert, actually, we create this authority. Okay, details, certification path, blah blah, key usage, digital signature queue, turn print, blah 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 blah. Okay, we are not gonna go into these details, but we see the certificate. Okay, this is the most important thing. and we are using right now domains instead of IP addresses. So it runs. Now I didn't do something. So well-known. Well-known OpenID configuration. Yeah, we can look at here. Also the endpoints, if we can, of course. Come on, give me the endpoints. What is going on now? OpenID configuration. Why this is not working? I have no idea. Didn't I? Probably I stop it or not. No, I did. I haven't stopped it. Error ID parameter debug identity server startup. Error ID parameter error ID. Okay. So I'll solve this issue somehow, if there is an issue, of course. Uh, okay, discovery document. Click here to see the claims for your current session. ID parameter error. Error URL home error. Identity server return URL. Okay, so in any case, I haven't checked the entire project. I will figure this out. This is not an issue right now. What I wanted to do is create the certificates. This is the most important thing. Let me look at for alternative ways to create the certificates in MVC, in containers. Okay, so I have all these things. Okay, so now what are other things? How can we create certificates? Make certificate executable. Uh, there is a mkcert which comes with the SDK, and with this command we also can create actually certificates with make certificate. Let me find the URLs which are necessary actually for that. Missing in Windows 10. Look this, if you cannot find where is the make certificate, you can use these commands which they propose here in Stack Overflow. Installed. Okay, so see users. Where? Look at this. We just have to run this command and find where the make certificate is. Right now I'm thinking why this project is not working correctly, but I did so many changes. I'll figure this out. Where air programs certificate is where? Okay, what's wrong with this now? Argument make cert. Yeah, obviously there is something wrong with this. I have it somewhere here. Make cert, and I found it. Make cert. Let me look at again. How did I execute this for development? And here is how to use it in the VMware. This is very important as well. Okay, so in VMware, create a self-signed certificate with make certificate. I also will put URL to this one. PFX hostname PFX, and also we can use OpenSSL to create certificate. Do I want to say something else about make cert? Yeah, a part of make cert there is another tool, because make cert actually is not gonna create a PFX file, so actually they have another Windows has another tool Let me look at here, mkcert. This is how I executed it. Mkcert, Microsoft Windows version, C users, user, okay, PowerShell. What? Where object, a positional parameter cannot be found. Accept argument mkcert. Hmm. Let me continue searching. I'm definitely sure that I found it. mkcert mmc, cert store msc. Those are the parameters which I have used. And pvkfx. pvk to pfx. This is what we have to use actually. Selected product version. Microsoft Management Console. To see it, I'm surprised that I don't see my certificates, make certificate files right now. Um, this is the command which I have executed before. It's very strange. It doesn't work right now. Where? Huh. Where? Is there a space here? Maybe there is a space here. No, there is nothing. mkcert, Windows Kits, program Windows Kits, search in Windows Kits for mkcert. Ha! I'm absolutely sure that I have executed this command, but for some reason it's not working right now. And I did it probably many times because I copied this command from the guy. It's part of the Windows SDK. Yeah, I know that. mkcert, mkcert, docs Microsoft mkcert. Cert manager are your docs. mkcert or something else. Oh, Christ. I found mkcert in many places on my machine, and usually I write down these successful comments as I did right now. And look at this, it shows me where my mkcerts are. I remember I had to change error, please add a specified book certificate file, blah 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 blah. Okay, so create self-signed certificate with mkcerts, mkcert, feedback, Visual Studio. So this is the command to execute to make it. And the last option actually for making certificates is to use I remember there was some kind of a problem here with this command. Let me try like that. Ah, Christ. Kits. Files. x86 kits. That's strange. Here I'm absolutely sure that I'm copying always the successful commands. And here we go, we can see the output of this command. So I'm absolutely surprised that this is not working right now. Come on. Where object, a positional parameter cannot be found that accepts argument mkcert. Okay? All line, one character. Where C program, blah, 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 blah. Category info, blah, 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 blah. Okay. Mm, Mamma mia. Okay. In any case, it found it somehow here when I executed this, and we always can run it with C program mkcert. Anyway, so for OpenSSL, actually I have been using a Docker container to generate the OpenSSL certificate. I'm going down, so I'm gonna go up. So frapsoft OpenSSL, this is what I was using to generate my OpenSSL certificate. They generate different files, there are two files. So that's it for now. 3 ways to generate, and if I have more crystallized ideas, I'm going to record them as well. The most important is that we have created the Kestrel PFX file using mkcert.